Të shkues të ALBUK TV, mirë mbrëma, mirë se vini tek emisioni Zeri I Diaspores. Për sonte kam një mysafir special që na vjen nga një vend po aq si them i konfliktit apo në konflikt, sikur që ishte Kosova para 20 vite. Kam fjalën për një ukrainase e cila ka lëviz me vizë speciale nga Kieva apo Ukraina për në Evropë e pastaj është sponsoruar nga një familje për të ardhur në Londër dhe tani jeton në Hampstead dikun. Për juve kam zonjen Maria Levchenko, e cila do të na informon pak a shumë për rrugën dhe rrugtimin edhe formën se si është përkrahur dhe si njihet tani si ukrainase që faktikisht është dashur detyrimisht me ndrua stilin e jetës dhe me lëviz jashtë vendit saj, pa dëshirën e vet domosdoshmërisht. Maria, good afternoon and good to have you on our show.
Good afternoon.
You know that you are in diaspora, voice of diaspora in Albanian language. And what you went through like 3 weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago, we went through like 20 years ago. So we almost can relate to what you're going through now in your family and certainly your nation as well. How was your journey to UK, by the way?
My journey to UK was very long, and it took a long time before, to get here. As before that, I lived in Poland for about more than 1 month, and I was waiting for the permission to enter UK. Also more than 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. So my journey to UK was rather long.
Understanding. You left Ukraine, I'll say like 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago. Am I correct saying that?
No, I left Ukraine even more weeks ago. It was on the 2nd or on the 3rd day after war has started.
About a year ago, what were you doing? And have you ever thought that in a year's time you have to leave everything you have at Ukraine, including your home, your job, your friends, your family? And how does that make you feel?
Of course, I couldn't imagine. I will say more. I couldn't imagine even a few months ago that I will have to do this all. And you are right. You are saying exactly right that I had to leave everything there: my home, my family, my friends, actually my life. It's even more than just to leave some property. So of course I didn't think about it, and just if someone could say me things like this, I would never believe.
When things start changing into the direction that you actually, or nation starts feeling that there is a time that actually you're going to war, how long before the war started you start knowing that actually it's real?
There were some talks even in the end of the last year, but it was just like some talking on this topic, and no one was thinking about it seriously. But in February, people start talking more and more, and we heard talking that invasion can start on February 16th, for example, and people were scaring a little bit, but again, no one felt very serious about it. And then after February 16th passed, and everything was fine, actually, we felt a little bit relaxed, and we didn't expect it will happen exactly 1 week after February 16th. So I will repeat myself, people, they didn't believe it can be in real.
So then the invasion started, the people start to understand that it's serious. How was the administration kind of working with you, government administration, and how the information came to the people that actually we entering the time that we have a war in our country, in your country in this case, and we have to stand up and fight?
You know, again, maybe a week or 2 weeks before the invasion, like our government, they start talking to us, like saying about you have to be prepared. You have to prepare your documents and keep it in the one place, for example, or you have to be you have to prepare like small suitcase with some necessary things and with your documents again. But again, no one thought it should be done. You know, no one was serious about it, honestly. Um, but right after the invasion started, uh, honestly, I don't remember if our government they said us something. Like I only remember that there was a huge panic, and people were thinking what to do. As well, me, I was thinking what to do, and there were news all the time, and like all channels, they had the same news and same information, and we were checking just like. There was bomb on that place or there was bomb in that city, and they were saying like please be careful and when you hear the air siren, please go to the bomb shelter or go to the basement or whatever you have, so follow all the rules like this. So this information what they said to us.
How scary that was, and how the people around you start kind of acting, and how your communication was with them during the period of actually making decisions.
Actually, it was very scary. As first bomb, they were at 4 with something in the morning. You know, like people they were sleeping. So when I woke up, I had several messages on my phone, like the war started. And at the same moment, I just went out from my home because I realized I had to go to the petrol station and to get some petrol there. There was a huge line at that time, and I spent more than 3 hours staying in the line just to get some petrol. And there was panic everywhere. People they were staying in the lines to shops and just leaving the city, and like traffic jams everywhere. You know, it was panic. It was real panic, and people they tried to get some cash from the ATM machines. Again, lines everywhere, and it was scary time, honestly. It was scary time, and what I saw in my house, in my building, like people, they almost all people they left the building. I mean, I know how does our parking for cars looks like, but then I saw there is no cars at all. You know, I realized that building is almost empty, and this is how it was. It was panic. It was real panic.
So when you see the parking empty, the whole building empty, the city kind of moving out, how does that make you feel? It's kind of that change that happened in 2 days. It's not like it was over a period of time or something.
You know, it's a strange feeling. You just don't know what to do. I mean, there is no right answer to leave or not to leave. From one side, maybe it's like more safe to leave because a lot of people they moved to the Western Ukraine, and even before the invasion, I've heard that people were moving to the Western Ukraine. Maybe you know it's like psychologically more easy because it's closer to the border.
When you say closer to the border, you mean like closer to the border of the countries that you feel safe at?
Yes. Like this. I mean, Kiev is in the center. Actually, it's in the center of our country. Yes, and of course we realized that in case in case of invasion, they will start from Kiev. They will try to get into Kiev. So as for me, I was afraid of the moment if, for example, if Russian army will take Kiev into the circle, you know. So I was thinking what I will do then, if I will be able to escape then. I didn't understand, you know, I didn't even checked, are there some rules of making war, or what can happen then, you know, how do the people, they should act. So I just didn't know what to do, honestly.
You just follow the crowd, basically. How was your family and relatives and friends being affected by it? And have you lost anybody who you think you know and you feel about it?
Thanks God. I don't know someone personally who died, for example, during this war. I know some friends of my friends who lived in Kiev region, like in Bucha. I know that there are some people who died. They were in occupation, and unfortunately they died. But as for my close friends, everyone is alive, thanks God. And as for my relatives as well, it's very terrifying feeling, you know, even to think about this, that someone could suffer.
For not a specific reason, to my knowledge.
Of course, because what's the reason actually? Why? You know, why?
Take me
Because
a little bit, take me to the journey that you actually took the petrol, you got into the car, and then you drove towards border. How far it was and how difficult it was to get there?
Well, if it is normal time, then to get to the border from Kiev, it will take, I think, not more than 7 hours in total. But that time when we left Kiev, we had to reach like first stop, first point. It's Zhytomyr city. It's in 135 kilometers from Kiev. So, I mean, again, in normal time, you will reach this city maybe in hour and a half. But that day, the day I drove to this city for about 13 hours. It was like just a traffic jam all over, all the way. Imagine, like my speed was maximum 20 kilometers per hour. So it was very long road. Again, there was no petrol. I mean, if you had to have some petrol, there was again a long queue, and again it could took about 2 hours just to stay and to get some. And at that moment there was restriction, like maximum you could get 20 liters per one car. You couldn't get more. You couldn't have some in I don't know, in some
to carry
chemistry.
with you, basically, in the boot. How was the people in your journey like? When it came to the food, for example, 13, 14 hours, you need food, you need drinks, you need things. Were the people comfortable to go and get it onto the shops? And were the shops open? Were anybody supporting the crowd? Or it was like just within your own means you have to live with?
Well, actually, when on our way to the border, yes, or like to the cities closest to the border, it was by our own. Just we had something, we bought something on the petrol stations. But then we had like this took us 13 hours to get to one of the cities, which is much more closer to the border. So we spent night there, and then in the morning we continued our trip to the border, exactly. And so near the border we spent about 40 hours more, like it was almost 2 complete days.
40, is it?
And there, yes, 40. And exactly there were people who just brought some food, some hot drinks, you know, and they were just working and giving it for free to people who were in the queue. And of course they supported too much, because again, it's, you know, area near the border is just a field and nothing there, nothing. I mean, even toilets, just field and queue of cars, and that's it. So yes, people they supported. That was local people from the nearest villages, I guess. So they supported a lot.
And these people near the village, they were Ukrainians or they were Polish?
They were Ukrainians. Still, they were Ukrainians. And you know, when we were talking to these people, like, don't you feel scared, or what do you feel in the situation? They felt themselves more confident because, you know, like they are closer to the border, like they will not bomb this close to the border cities. So they were more confident, and I think they felt themselves more safe than we, for example.
So they basically have energy to help you guys around.
Yes, exactly.
There was a rule said that age 18 to 60, they have to stay in the country. The man have to, especially the man, have to stay in the country to fight. Did you come across to the 18-year-olds, 19, 20, 25, that they have to actually return into the war zone and protecting their country while everyone else that felt it was vulnerable left country?
Yes, of course. I saw several situations when, for example, man, he drove his family to the border. He was staying with his family in this queue, and then right before the border, he turned back his car and he back to Ukraine. And for example, his wife and children, they went to Poland territory. And I saw several situations like this because it was really restricted to men to cross the border.
Understand. How the families felt? I mean, did they kind of show emotions? Of course, we believe that they it's not easy. Even if you go for fun, it's not easy to say goodbye to someone without feeling a bit about it. Can you imagine you returning into the war that you don't know what tomorrow is going to be like?
I think that those men, at that moment, they felt themselves maybe more confident and more free because, now, at that moment, they realized that now they have to take care only about themselves, not about wife, not about children, because their family is in safe place. So now they could fight. They could take care only about themselves, and I think they felt something like this. It was
so you
like
say that they kind of, apart from knowing that they save their family, they feel proud as well that they're going to fight for their country in a way.
Of course. I know many. There were many cases when some men who used to live abroad before the war started, they returned to Ukrainian territory to fight. I mean, they were not forced. Yes, just it was their own decision, but they decided to return to Ukraine and to fight.
So Ukrainian President Zelensky said that when they suggested him that he need to leave, he said that he'd rather have weapons than a right to leave the country. How did the nation felt having such a president that actually stayed there to join the forces to fight for country, rather than we've seen some of the countries that the president and leaders leave first option? And certainly brothers Klitschko, that they stay in Kiev. I think Klitschko is mayor of
Yes. Well, we're proud of our president so much, honestly, and we do really proud. And I think all the world proud about our president. And he showed himself from another side, and he showed to all the world that maybe it is not the most important in being a president to be a good politician. It's important to be a good person and
a brave when you need to be.
A brave person, So of course, all of us we're proud of him too much.
Certainly, the rest of the free world we're calling we are so pleased that we have the nation that stand up to aggression such as that, and basically teaching the lesson to autocrats that they cannot do anything they like in the world because there's somebody there who stand up for. It happened to be Ukrainians, young and old men that actually stay there to fight, and certainly there is a woman there and others that they believe that fighting is important and fighting for their country. How does it make you feel like a Ukrainian belonging to such a nation?
I'm proud to be Ukrainian. Honestly, you know, I think I never felt this feeling so deep and so strong for many years. Maybe I didn't think about this so deeply before, but now this feeling is very strong. And being away from home for many months now, I feel like in everything I see some kind of Ukrainian signs, you know, for example, colors of Ukrainian flag. And at this moment, I just say to myself, oh, this is about my country, this is about me, and this is about Ukrainian nation, and I'm proud to be a part of Ukrainian nation, honestly.
And you deserve to be so. You left then to Poland. How was in Poland, how the refugees found themselves? Whether they felt supported, whether they felt welcome, whether there was showing any kind of sympathy or empathy for the people in general, especially kids and vulnerable elderly and so on.
Right after we crossed the Polish border, we were met by a group of volunteers, and again they just had some food, some hot drinks or whatever people needed, and they were really well organized, and they just proposed help to people, for example, who didn't have the place where to go. For example, if they didn't have friends or relatives or anyone there in Poland, so they were proposed to go to some host families, for example, something like this. So Polish people, they met us very friendly, and they supported us too much. Honestly, again, it was a kind of surprise that people can be so kind, and again, it was new experience for all of Ukrainians, you know. If to talk about Polish government, again, they made all the procedures very easy. Everyone could just cross the border, even if, for example, if there were some animals or pets, again, they could cross the border easily. And without some restrictions. And after that, I know that Polish government, again, they tried to support Ukrainian refugees as much as they could, like arranging of special places for Ukrainian refugees where they can, where they could have some support, maybe even some kind of things like clothes. They also could take there, and I don't know, different kind of support, you know, even language courses, again, they were arranged there, and people, they could attend those courses, and it was for free. So they did really well.
How about the kids? How did they arrange anything for kids to make them feel comfortable, to keep them with activities and so on, or there was too much to ask?
Yes, they paid a lot of attention to kids, to entertain kids, and even again, I know that children, they could attend school right after they came to Poland, without a long procedure, you know, without some strict rules. They just could go to the nearest school and start their study there. And a lot of attention was given to children, to kids. A lot of different kind of help. as you said, with toys, with some clothes, and again some financial support from country. It was also arranged, so they did very well.
Let me ask you about your family who sponsored you and your sister to go to UK, to London now. How did they get in touch with you, or how did you start communication with them, and how came that you were chosen, you and your sister were chosen for it?
Actually, right after this program was announced, and it was in the mid of March, so we start looking for some information about this program, and what I found, there were a lot of groups in Facebook and on some websites, like for hosts. People, they were just telling about themselves, from which city they are, and like saying, we would like to have some family from Ukraine, or I don't know, mother and child, or just a single person. So we will be happy to host this person, and just telling about their conditions, place, where do they live, and like this. So in this case, you just get in contact with this person, you start communicating, you tell about yourself, you know more about that person, and like, you know, if there is a match, then you could you just agree on making the application. As for us, actually, that was the same story, and when we found our host, we had a call. We even had a few calls just to know more about each other, and that's it. Then we applied for a visa.
Amazing. You're a very good English speaker. How did that help you to actually engage with the families here, considering that the visas are open for everyone, but not every family sponsor someone who needs to leave Poland, considering it's too crowded?
Well, of course, my English helped me too much, and even now it helps me too much. Of course, it's much more easier to have communication. Honestly, I don't know how do other people who don't know English, how do they communicate? It's much more difficult. You have to use translators or someone's help.
Understand. Was the application forms difficult to make, considering that they talking quite lots about that it was more difficult than actually expected to be? Or the family from here took care of?
Well, it was rather long with many questions. I can't say that it was too difficult, but it was like with a huge list of questions.
Understand. You are now here in London. How do you feel like being in London, and how the London or Great Britain is kind of accommodating you? Of course, the family who have created a space for you, I think they deserve a great thanks for doing that.
Yes, like London treats us very well. Honestly, nice place and nice country. It was from the beginning. It was a little bit strange because of different architecture, different people, different rules. Now I feel myself much more confident about all this. So again, a different weather. You know, before my coming here, I thought that it is a myth about the London weather, like it's rainy or it's very changeable, but it's true. Now I see it for sure. I know that it's true. So just I think I need more time, you know, to settle in and to feel myself more confident. But even now, I can say that everything is fine, thanks God, and I hope it will be even better.
How is the Ukrainian community here? Is it organized? Are you getting a lot of advice and comments and communication, or you kind of think it should be a bit more organized, considering that there is Ukrainians here who live for a good 50, 60 years, 100 years?
Well, yes, there are arranged communities. or the Ukrainians who just came, and they are really good organized. They are organized by boroughs. So it depends on the borough. How do they do it? For example, in our borough, we have meetings on a weekly basis. So we have a meeting every Saturday. We receive some useful information there. For example, about necessary steps which you have to do just when you arrived. For example, to apply for those things or to do those things, you know, and just you can meet new people, you can communicate in Ukrainian again, and just to make new friends. It is very important for sure. And if to talk about people who live here for some long period, I know those people too. For example, we met some when we were on excursions around London. So we met some people, they're Ukrainians, but they live here for 10 years or even more. Again, it's like a Ukrainian community, so I hope we will be in touch, and you know, it makes you feel more confident.
You speak English language and you understand English language. I think I repeated quite a few times. But how does it make you feel when you start listening to the news, when you listen to the presentation from around the world? They're talking about you and how to accommodate Ukrainians and how to create space for them and how to support. Do you think you have enough support from around the world, or do you think the world can do more for Ukraine?
It depends from what side to think about this question.
As Ukrainian, someone who actually sees a Ukrainian disposition.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you mean.
As a Ukrainian, so you are not a politician, you are not kind of, you are an individual who actually live and you are Ukrainian. Based on your knowledge and the information you get, do you think the world can do a bit more for Ukraine, or do you think they have done enough so far?
You know, maybe like just a simple person, I would say that world is doing a lot for us, supporting us and supporting with different kind of helps. But maybe if to go deeply in this topic, maybe I would say about some kind of better help, or like, I think it's more on the politician level, you know. I'm not so strong in this area, but I think that in politician sphere there could be more help for Ukraine, like for country. As for me, like for a person, for a Ukrainian woman, I'm happy with that support which we got and which we still have from the world and from the UK. So. But I think it could be more on some politician level.
So technically you kind of leaning towards more weapon for Ukrainians so they can actually have tools to protect their country.
Yes.
Got that. You communicating, or your communication with people in Ukraine now, how often it's, how good it is, and do you get information other things are settling slowly, or still there is a fear and is a issues that people still need to leave the country?
It depends on the territory where do these people live. I mean, if to talk about eastern Ukraine, of course, it is still very dangerous there, and I know that people they don't come back to their territories. If to talk about western Ukraine and even about Kyiv, it's much more better there now. But now people they faced with another kind of problems, like shortage of fuel, for example, and very high prices for fuel. Very high prices for food, and shortage of some, for example, of some kind of food. Now people, they face with another kind of problems there. And if to talk about their emotional condition, I would say it's better than it was, but still people, they feel themselves like uncertain, they can't be 100% sure that they are safe. Still there are air sirens all the time. And I think it's impossible to use to eat.
Do you have any close family there that you're concerned mostly about?
Yes, I have my mother. She is still in Kiev, and my grandmother, she's also in Kiev.
How often do you communicate to them? How often do you talk to them?
Every day, of course, every day. We're in touch all the time, and thanks God they are safe. And during all these horrible months, they were safe. I don't know, we just were praying, all the time with my sister that everything will be fine and their house, their building will be safe and nothing will happen. Thanks God, it's okay now.
Let's hope it's going to continue to be like that. Do you plan, if the war was over soon, do you plan to go back to Ukraine, or do you think living in London, it's an opportunity?
Still difficult decision, and still, I'm in uncertain situation to give you some direct answer, because I think it will depend on many things, honestly.
Understand.
So still,
yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that, I think many Ukrainians now, they live like with one day, It's difficult to make any plans. So just unfortunately, like we live with one day, and then life will show how it will go on.
So basically, act as things change in a way.
Yes.
Maria, it was absolutely great to have you on my show, and thank you so much for sharing your story with us. If you have anything to say for Albanians and Albanian community, of course, I think there is a meeting going on in the Kosovo Embassy for Ukrainians in about a week time, which I'm not going to be around, unfortunately. I wish I was there. A specialist for Ukrainians. I don't know what kind of program is there, but I think there is ongoing there, and Kosovars and professional Albanians are gathering there to actually see what they can do for Ukraine and the people of Ukraine. And certainly Kosovo and Albania have done a lot so far based on their energy and power.
I just want to say that me personally and all Ukrainians, we are really grateful for all the world helping us and for any kind of support, and even saying about this situation in the world. It's very important other people to know what is happening. So we are very grateful, and me personally, I'm very grateful.
Thank you so much for your time again, and we are grateful for standing up for the free world on behalf of Albanians everywhere they are, and certainly on behalf of myself as well. Proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you a lot.
Great to have you on my show. Teleshikues të ALBUK TV ishte Maria Levchenko që na dha dhënat e saj më shumë se si e ka përjetuar ajo dhe si e përjeton ajo çështjen e luftës ukraino-ruse dhe çfarë ndikimi ka pas lufta tek ta në përgjithësi. Nga unë Sabri Agimit falenderoj që na ndoqët natën e mirë dhe shimin e emisionet e ardhshme. Slava Ukraina.